Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sevo TV. We had a new host coming in, or I should say a new set of casters anyways. I'm Misled. I will be with later, and we have map number 2, Method versus affNity, and we believe that affNity took map number 1 over Method, so we're into 2 now. Method should have to try and grab this map to stay alive, and of course it's going to be Cobble. We are already into round 11.
Yeah, and affNity has shown, well, an affinity for Cobble in the past. Wow, it's crazy how these things just write themselves. But they've liked to pick Cobble in the past. We've actually seen it work for them pretty well in some regular season matches. So it seems like it's working out for them really well here as they're going into round 11 with 10 of the round ones on the T side of this map. And really, based on how, as soon as we came into the server, the comms for Method were not exactly the most calm and collected. So it seems like affNity is really getting the most out of them in this series.
Yeah, definitely looking very good so far into this. I mean, they've only dropped 1 round. We're hitting round 12 here. They're taking quite a few terrorist-sided rounds off of Method. He's got to come back in a big way. I mean, they could still make this a 10-5 half in favor of affNity if Method can win out from this point, but affNity doesn't show any signs of slowing down here. Arya, Jason R, Davey, Fox, and Sidoff will be your 5-4 affNity. Your 5-4 Method will be Justin, Silent, Ely, Streber, and Mainline, or Roberts, depending on how we feel when we say his name. But it looks like a little bit of action over here as we're going to have Method onto an eco round. They're going to be out in mid. They're going to try and catch the first player. Streb's able to hit that shot. Ely right there, and he is taken down by Jason R. That's a 2K into round 12 for Jason R, as it will be a 4-on-3 now.
Yeah, and taking a look at the scoreboard, Davey's been doing some really heavy lifting for his team, putting up 17 frags already in this game. And he also, if those at home that are initiated will notice that Sidoff is in the game. He's going to be playing for Abe, at least in the beginning of this. I don't know if Abe is going to be coming in. You got to imagine that would hurt affNity, but based on how they're playing right now, it doesn't seem like it's slowing them down too much or slowing them down at all.
So going to get that bomb plant in the A-bomb site. Mainline comes up in mid, gets absolutely shredded. Rec 9 headshot coming from Arya. Now it's just going to leave Justin all by himself here. He might have a flank coming from behind. Yes, he will have a flank coming in. If that number 8 man of Davey looks in his direction, he should see the barrel of his gun now. Just got to look to his right. Justin, yep, gets spotted out. Davey will take him down. AK headshot, 2K for Arya, 2K for Jason R. affNity will go up 11-1.
Yeah, it's kind of, we've only seen a few rounds, so it's hard to really gauge their strategy and how affNity is really besting Method. But it seems like they're doing a good job of spreading out across the map and keeping the attention of a bunch of individual counter-terrorist players and then working and finding those picks. I mean, players were working out towards the Long B area while Jason R was 2K'ing on the complete opposite side of the map. And that kind of pressure distributed across the map makes it really difficult for a team to know where they should be. And, who knows what kind of experience Method has on this kind of map. And right off the bat, we have a 1-for-1 trade in middle as Justin makes a second one happen.
It's going to make it a 3 versus 4. So far, the best looking round we've seen from Method since we've been in here. Mainline's able to collect Arya and Fox. Now it's all up to Davey. He's going to hit the drop. Flashbang will come in and voids it. Makes a lot of noise, though, so I believe the CTs are calling where he's at as the bomb will be down upper B area. Over there into the balcony. Silent's going to be the first one to engage Davey. Davey will take him down. He turns this into a 1v3 now. Tries to cross over on Mainline. Mainline hits another shot. That's a 3K for Mainline. Other 2 frags go in favor of Justin. And that gives Method a secondary round as we hit round 14.
Yeah, and that's kind of the advantage that Method has when affNity goes for that spread out style. If affNity doesn't get those opening picks, then you have a disjointed team where they're getting picked all over the place. And so it really is a risk and reward strategy. And it just seems like it's been working out a lot more for affNity, so there's no reason for them to slow down, even when they do get caught slightly off guard there. I would say kind of a lackluster attempt in mid right there after that 1-for-1 trade. I really thought the terrorists would back off there and not try to engage a player that knew where exactly he was. He was really at a disadvantage on that peak. But when you have such a big score differential like we have right here, it kind of breeds that that kind of confidence and makes you play perhaps a little more confidently than you really should. And sometimes it can go for you, it can go against you. Last round didn't really work out for them, and things started to spiral out of control from there. Looks like Justin has dropped out of the server via a timeout, so hopefully we can get his internet right and get him back in so we can get this underway, as affNity is looking like they are trying to close this one out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking on point to do it right now. If they keep going the way they're going, I mean, 11 rounds on T side is pretty good here. If they make this, if they turn this into a 13-2 half, which they have the ability to, they have the economy to at the moment. We actually get to see some AKs and
A Krieg.
5.53. Yeah, pulling the Krieg out will be Fox. So if they can keep this rolling here effectively, it's going to be a buyout coming from Method at the moment. So if they shut them down on this round, they completely reset their loss bonus, they reset all the cash they have. They'll go into the final round of the half completely broke, which could easily make this a 13-2 if affNity is able to hold on here in this round.
Yeah, and I just want you guys to know at home that is a completely unironic Krieg on Fox. He will use that gun. He will use a scoped rifle. He does not care. This is not like a I'm up 11-2. Let's break out a fun gun. Nah, he will pull out one of those guns every once in a while. I probably wouldn't be so loose with it if the score was a little closer, but it's not like sometimes you see like the negavs come out, things like this is not his equivalent of a negav. This is him trying to pick the gun that he thinks he will frag the hardest with, and it's not a bad pick on this map. This is certainly one of the more rangy maps out there if you can
definitely
position
a lot
yourself
more AUG
properly.
and Krieg friendly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so much harder to hit crazy long range AK and M4 1 and 2 taps. I mean, it's certainly possible. These guys are super good shooters, so it's you can't rule out the long range one tap. But when you have a Krieg, you can zoom in. You have that red dot. The first 2 bullets with an AUG are going perfectly straight. A little not as straight with a Krieg, and you can really rip some heads off from far distance. And this is a wide map with really open terrain. So I don't think it's a terrible pickup, but it's I don't know. You'll be hard pressed to find me with an Auger Krieg in my hand, unironically.
Really, I remember when they both got buffed and
When they were nuts.
When the game turned into counter AUG, and that was unbelievably fun. By the way, that was absolutely amazing when it was counter AUG for like a month or something. It was retarded.
I also remember when they first introduced the quote-unquote COD scope on those 2 guns, and boy, were people upset. I'm sure myself included at the time, but really, it's the gun has become such a non-issue in the game that I don't think people really care about it anymore. I remember when there was a green dot sight in Counter-Strike, everyone was like, that's it, we're done, pack it up, Counter-Strike is over. It's a wrap. But yeah, no, it seems like it's not too crazy quite yet. It seems like
what's funny is it's always the new kids that are brand new to Counter-Strike, because if they're not really brand new to CS and they've played for quite a long time, the M4 used to have a scope on it.
Yeah, that's
like
super
the M4
old.
had a scope. Like
that's super old school, but it also didn't scope the same way. Like it's not like it had like an op scope or a scout scope where like it zooms in on a crosshair. We're talking green dot sight here.
Oh yeah, no, it was sweet. The M4 with the scope was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure. What version was that in? That's
god,
my time, like 3, 1.3.
I don't even like 1.1. I think was
when
it first in.
Wow,
I think it was 1.1 that had it originally. It's been a long time, and that was pretty short lived too. So
yeah, I mean even a riot shield made it longer than that. So
oh god, the riot shield.
I've never actually even used a riot shield. I've only seen it on 1.6 buy menus, and every time I click it, it says you are not allowed to on this server because every server has it disabled.
Dude, I remember before they banned it, and we would play it in some leagues, and it was just ridiculous. It was so funny.
Yeah, I bet it would make for some really funny plays. I think I saw someone talking about it yesterday, saying like on Dust 2 you could just get a bunch of the shields and block the B tunnel, which seems like it would be a fun time. But yeah, definitely game breaking in terms of balance. So I would like to get back
to the grenade in there and shut them down.
Yeah, hit them all from behind with it. Yeah. Oh man.
There we go. No.
Oh, Emung is in. At least
Emung is coming in. All right.
Okay, so
Emong's filling in twice apparently today.
Yeah, I guess maybe this timing out has been well. I guess it was for Strebber before, but it looks like players dropping or not being here. It seems to be a recurring theme with Method. I'm sure that doesn't help exactly when you're working through a tournament. Having a consistent 5 and a solid 5 staying in the server is really good for building that momentum, building that morale. But at least they do have 5 in the server, and Emung is a very suitable replacement for really anyone. So. It's not like they're taking a huge quality hit. It's not like I'm stepping in for them, because if I did, oof.
The game would be over for affNity.
16-2.
No way. I think the game would be over. What we don't realize is that LATORR is actually the first ever Cal-I player ever. So, yeah.
It's true.
But we are now into round 14. If they only subbed in later, they'd be winning this match at the moment. But affNity is up 11-2. Method has another sub coming in, this time in for Justin. Hemong was in earlier for Streb, but now we have Strebber into the server. Justin has lagged out. Now the fill-in from Hemong will be coming for his position. But it's into round 14. affNity with a extremely dominant lead at the moment. So it's not looking the greatest here for Method. Hemong does fall to Davey right there, though. Good opener for affNity. They're going to keep trying to roll with this. That's going to be mainline trades out Davey, though. And we lose Silent to Fox. So Method getting some trade outs in their favor. They're going to get a 4-on-3 now into round 14.
Yeah, they are now grouping up towards that long B area, actually towards the drop as well. Excuse me, just the drop even. The radar can be pretty tricky over there on the main line. Gonna rock right into 3 different crosshairs. He gets 1, so not a total loss. And Silent's about to get pressured by side off here. Good Molotov there to keep him away.
Still trying to force their way in, trying to get some frags. Not looking like it's going to go in their favor just quite yet. Jason R trying to boost back up and get that bomb, but the number 2 is right there. That's going to be Ely taking down Jason R. So now it's all up to Sidoff by himself, and Silent steps out. They get to string together 2 rounds in a row in round 14 to make it 3-11. affNity, though, as we hit the last round of the half, still plenty of cash to buy out with here to still try and make this a 12-3 scoreline in their favor.
Yeah, strapped with cash. Looks like they won the first 7 rounds in a row before dropping round 8, and then 4 straight after that. So absolutely no shortage of cash coming out from affNity. Easy AK buy-up and ops all around. Method, though, using those the last rounds really effectively, now able to afford a double ops setup. The rest of their players with just regular automatic rifles in their hands. Hemong going down first again from the drop. Seems like affNity's really doing a good job of abusing that area and catching picks from there. Strebber now getting bullied out of position inside. He's actually going to get a dink on Arya as well.
Yeah, Method now breathing a little bit of life into this round until we just watch mainline go down. Ely's going to force his way out from the tunnels, take 1 onto Arya as Jason R turns around, removes Streb. Davies coming in on a good flank here, though. So they've no ones upper B. That's going to be Ely. Tries to hit a shot with the op in hand. Silent's also going to have a scoped weapon. He's got the op. Ely's able to take down Sidoff. Looking for another one. Here comes Silent. He takes down Jason R. But Davies right there, and Silent is perfect on his shots. Hits 2 of those to make that a 11-4 half, which is turned out to be respectable showing there for Method. Of course, they would have loved to get more on CT side of things here.
Definitely.
But affNity now on the side switch, looking very poised to try and win this.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that affNity folded so quickly after getting site control there. It seemed like none of the players could really find any solid cover. The ops were just all over the place and pinning them into really open areas, not spots you want to be when there are ops trained on or around you. But, you know, the grand scheme of things, 11 rounds T side, cannot be disappointed with that. You know, who knows? I'm curious what affNity's pistol round is going to look like on you know, this map going into CT side, but you know, it's a numbers game at this point. I would be absolutely shocked if affNity would give up this many rounds to allow Method back into the game. Because as I said, affNity has shown that this map is kind of one that they have in their back pocket to catch teams like this off guard. Taking a look, it looks like they have picked it once and banned it once. In their CVO P run right now, and they're 1-1 on it, so they've won once and lost once on it. Not a terrible rate, 50%, pretty good for a map that a lot of teams aren't going to be super familiar with, and it's also, as I said, a good map to catch some teams off guard with.
Definitely. Yeah, so we're just waiting for these guys to get live in the server. We only are waiting on 1 to live up. And if we do go to a 3rd map, it will be trained. But as I said, affNity looking really good here. If they can hold it down on CT side like they did initially as Terrorist, they should be good to go and win forward. And what you guys are watching here on CVO TV, on MLG TV, is your MSI IBP Power Summer Invitational Qualifiers. Going for that big IBP Power MSI Summer Invitational Finals. 10K prize pool, and then of course the BenQ sponsored monitors that are coming out to the winning teams, which it's what, 5 per team, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so. Each of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place all gonna get 5 different monitors. That's really awesome. I've been trying to justify. I mean, I have a BenQ 120 hertz monitor I use right now. It was actually one of the first models they ran, and it's great. I've been trying to mentally justify myself that I need those extra 24 hertz. And
Oh, you need them.
I think it might be
You
time
need
to
'em.
pull the trigger. Birthday coming right around the corner. It might be time to pull the trigger on that extra 24 hertz, because those are some slick looking monitors.
I'll be honest, going from 120 to 144 wasn't that noticeable, but in my mind, it was a gigantic improvement, and I'll never go back.
Mean, along with the extra, 24 hertz you're getting if you do already have a 120 hertz monitor, you do get some really cool features with the monitor. I mean, it's just nicer quality materials. I mean, this monitor is pretty outdated. The colors aren't great, especially they aren't as great as they were when I got it a few years ago. I'm pretty sure the new monitors still have the black equalizer from BenQ. You can use it to brighten up darker areas of maps. So there really is a lot to be desired, even if you're getting the 24 hertz and you're getting a bunch of other really cool features. So yeah, and I mean, we're talking about the BenQ monitors, but let's talk about cold hard cash. $1,800 for just for first place. This is just in the qualifier, and then you get the invitation to the invitational. $1,800 is pocket cash for winning a qualifier. That's awesome. $750 for second place and $450 for third. Cash and monitors, like that's a dream for Counter-Strike players. Hardware and cash. It really doesn't get any better, or peripherals rather, and cash. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, definitely, and that all leads up to the Invitational during the summer, which is going to be awesome with that big prize pool going forward. Lots of prizes in that one. Of course, you want to get your team in there. You want to get your points up as high as you can through these qualifiers to get directly in there and play against some of the big boys that are going to be in it. So make sure you guys get signed up and ready and get into these, because we have more coming up. There's going to be another qualifier next weekend and the weekend after that. So quite a few chances for you to be able to get to this High by Power Invitational in the next, I believe it's the beginning of July, I think is when it is. But yeah, quite a few chances for you and your team to get into that. Get onto the CEVO website, get registered, get signed up for that today, and try and fight your way through these qualifiers. Hopefully get yourselves into that Invitational that High by Power is hosting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking to myself, there are going to be pro teams that are going to be invited to that invitational tournament. And, even you have teams like Method and affNity, who are some really good, pro teams out there that are trying to fight their way. These are teams that didn't even make the invitational cut that feel the need to fight their way into it. So it just goes to show that there's even more depth in the talent that is going to be invited to that High by Power tournament. And honestly, I would not be surprised if we see one of these two teams joining them in that tournament. I was quickly scrolling through all the teams that were playing in this qualifier, and as far as I'm concerned, these are two of the strongest, if not, the top two specifically. And the way affNity is really putting a hurting on Method so far in this game, it looks like affNity might be one of those teams that we could see later down the stretch winning all 7 MSI High by Power qualifier points and continuing to try to rake in that cash and all the prizes we were just talking about.
Yeah. But we have second half about to go live now. Method versus affNity. Score will be 11-4 in favor of affNity. They're now going to be your CT-sided team, getting aggressive here. Looks like they're sending 3, possibly 4 towards the B bomb site. Yeah, it's looking like 4. They're going to stack up on that pretty hard. One man's going to be watching the drop. The other 3 are going to spread their way out through the bomb site. One will be close to help out the drop player. And they're actually getting a good rotation here off of just a little bit of action in mid from Ely, trying to make some noise. He's actually pulled one of those B players over towards him. The drop is completely wide open. Here comes the execute from Method into the B bomb site, though. Gunfights are going to ensue inside that bomb site. And Mainline's right there with his teammates. Goes on to 27 HP. Sit off around the corner. Emong will take down Sinop, but Arya comes in on the flank. Able to hit 2, able to hit a 3rd. Arya is shutting this strat down as Ely and Silent both pick up frags. Arya, you have to hit some shots here. He's able to hit another one now. He's going for the ace clutch. He's just got to take down Silent. Can he get a Silent USP headshot onto him? And he will get it. That is the ace clutch for Arya to allow affNity to go up 12-4 in the secondary gun round of this game.
Yeah, and affNity played, they had an interesting strategy with that pistol round. They stacked the 4 players over towards B early on, expecting some early B aggression, and when the rush didn't come in, they spread out and played really passively. I was looking at the radar, and they almost made a direct straight line across the map from the doors from A to B, so they were sitting back waiting for the Method players to come in. Honestly, not as successful as I think they would have wanted. The 4 players, besides Arya, really didn't do a ton. They did some damage in and helped Arya out, but really he did the heavy lifting. Jason R gets his turn this round, picking up 3 and starting things off right for his team on this anti-eco.
So we're going to try and fight here. Emong and Mainline left alive. Emong's going to be able to take down a shot onto Arya. Sit-Off is there to answer on Mainline, and he's able to get the other FAMAS shot onto Emong. That is going to make it 13-4. If affNity can hold on for one more anti-eco here, that should make the score 14-4. And that's going to put all the pressure onto Method going into that first full buy round of second half.
Yeah, I like seeing the auto shotgun buy on Davey, A, because it's a fun gun to watch, but B, I think he's been playing it over towards the drop. Let's see where he goes this round. I think it's a really good spot to play. You don't really see a lot of shotgun play except for some unique circumstances, but I think there's definitely a place for it on maps like this, exactly where he is on the drop, where an auto shotgun could be a great gun. Nuke, not really in the rotation anymore, but shotguns can be so effective on the inner bomb site. So I like to see teams utilize some off guns into their strategy as not one-off buys, but something that can actually work for them. And Davey getting to work already, but letting the entire terrorist team through the mid connector.
Ooh,
he actually is going to get the
gets
bomb,
the
most important player to catch. He got him.
He's going to re-peek out. Mainline's right there. Can he take down Mainline? Trying to get the damage off. Maintains control of the bomb as the rotates are coming in. There goes Silent. Now it's all up to Ely. He does have a silenced M4 in his hands, head armor, a Rec 9, and a flashbang. He's going to be working against Davey, Fox, and Sit-Off, so I'm going to be slightly curious here if they're going to send Davey out with that auto shotgun to get aggressive, be the hunter of this one. And yep, there it goes.
They're going to send him. He's sending himself.
Oh, yeah, but he gets cut down right there by Ely. Doesn't matter. Fox is quickly able to trade out the frag. That's a 2K for Ely, even though his team didn't win the round. Fox and Davey for their team both got 2Ks. affNity will be up 14-4, so this all-important buy round that I was talking about is not happening. They didn't have the cash for it. They put a lot of money into last round, so they're just going to have to armor pistol here to try and hope that they can get affNity to not be at that 15th round match point.
Yeah, it was certainly a desperation attempt last round to catch affNity off guard, and really it's not a terrible idea in the grand scheme of things. They are so far behind that they really just needed round wins ASAP. Doesn't really matter how they get them, and this round affNity is going to be fully rifled up. So if you're going to catch a team off guard, it's going to be when they have some of those off guns like auto shotguns, things like that. So they really were putting themselves in the highest chance to snake around from affNity, but it doesn't look like they're going to get too far with it. Davey going to town with that silenced M4.
Ooh, but Mainline will be there at the drop. Tries to escape out the window as Fox was on his tail. Couldn't quite get away. Fox will take him down, and that's going to be match point for affNity. And it's going to be a broken buyout once again for Method to try and stay alive in this and try. Now what they're going for is a win out at this point to force it into overtime just to be able to try and get a map win here so they can force it to map number 3.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult, but let's see what they bring out here. They've shown a lot of aggression or a lot of play towards B, towards the drop, and we've seen some success over there towards A, but the players just don't seem interested in working it as a team. I think they're kind of right. I think the B bomb stage is just a little more forgiving. There's a bunch of angles where you could surprise the counter-terrorists, but I thought we'd see a little bit more diversity in Method's playbook.
So we're going into possibly the final round of this game. Method trying to work their way into the B bomb site. That's going to be Sit-Off. Goes down, but Fox and Davey will answer. Davey gets himself 3, as now all we have left alive here is going to be Silent. Trying to go forward, but Jason R will close it out, and we see GG's coming out from Method, wishing affNity luck as they go forward. That's going to be a 16-4 scoreline in favor of affNity, who moves on in the upper bracket.
Yeah, and it's really hard to deny that Davey, such a huge force for his team, putting up 28 frags. God knows what his ADR was looking like right there. So, really, there was good play all around from affNity, but you have to imagine he was a huge contributing factor in that, just fragging throughout the entire game. So strong. And as soon as I hopped in the game, I checked the damage per player, and he was far and away out fragging damage-wise all of his teammates. I round like 11 or something like that. He had 1,600 damage worked in, so significantly higher than 100 ADR. That's really solid play coming out from Davey. He's been one of their most reliable players since he joined the roster.
Definitely looking extremely strong and solid here. And will be affNity moving on. I know I had the brackets up somewhere. And where is affNity? affNity will go on to play the winner of the best of 3 between Solid State G and Corrupt Minds. Both teams had 2 O's, I believe, to get to where they're at the moment, except for Corrupt Minds. Actually, they had 1-2-0, but they immediately stepped in since they were the ranked 3rd team at the moment. So all they had to do was beat Vindicate, whereas Solid State G had to take down Delta Alted and also take down Deja Vu, which they won 2-0s on those to work their way into this. So the winner of that game will go on to face affNity in your
that's gonna be a
round
tough
of 8.
game.
Yeah, in your round of 8 upper bracket. I mean, we still have some other big teams in this. And it looks like we got BDS in here. I'm curious if that is.
Yeah, I was looking at that
BDS.
roster, like Black Dragon Society. None of
Yeah.
the names were really familiar to me. It could just be me exposing myself as some kind of new school Counter-Strike baby. But yeah, maybe you could shed some light on that. But there are some really good teams in there, as you said, BDS, Black Dragon